Hello and welcome back to a brand new video, where today, in light of Nigel Farage's resignation from Parliament and subsequent by-election to get another mandate from the electorate of Clacton, I've decided to make a video on my most recent projection of the next UK general election, as well as my prediction for the upcoming Clacton by-election between Nigel Farage and Count Binface. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that I've been seeing that YouTube has been pressured by the UK government to not push independent media like myself in favour of more mainstream media, and I think that that is absolutely unfair. If the mainstream media cannot compete with the likes of us, then they simply need to get better. However, if this doesn't work and this goes ahead, well, I'm not actually Jerk's Take on Politics, I'm actually BBC. Now let's get right into the video. Starting off with the general election voting intention, I have Reform UK coming first with 24.10% of the vote. This is up 9.8% since the most recent general election. I have Labour coming second with 23.6% of the vote, which is down 10.1%. Then I have the Conservatives on 19.2%, which is down 4.5%. The Green Party on 11.6%, which is up 4.8%. The Liberal Democrats on 11.4%, down 0.8%. And other parties on 10.1%, up 0.8%. Now looking at the seat count, as this is the first past the post system, Reform UK only gets 84 seats, and while it is an increase of 79 seats, you would think that it is still quite a low seat count, and I will explain that a little bit later on. Meanwhile, I have Labour with the most seats, getting 294 seats, which is, while it is a decrease of 117 seats, it is still quite close to the majority of 315 seats needed in the UK Parliament. Then I have the Conservatives, or the Tories, with the second most seats, with 163 seats despite their drop. The Greens still hold on to their 4 seats, and there is no change. They are just stuck with the 4 seats. The Liberal Democrats get 70 seats, which is a decrease of 2 seats, and other parties get 35 seats, which is a decrease of 2 seats. Now looking at the overall party vote and combining it all, you can see that the left bloc doesn't quite have a majority, with that left bloc being Labour, the Lib Dems and the Greens, while the right bloc also doesn't have a majority, with the balance of power being held with the other parties if this was a proportional system, but the UK isn't. So if we are to look at the seats, you'll see that Labour and the Lib Dems would be able to form a majority, and Labour would be re-elected for a second term, while Reform UK, which are coming first, get the third most seats. Now why is this happening? Well, a large part of this, as was shown with the most recent UK local elections, is that Labour actually did quite well, as well as the Conservatives, and a large part of that is because there are a lot of Labour, Conservative, Lib Dem and Green voters who would rather vote for anyone but Reform UK. And that is a problem that Reform UK does need to address, that while they are getting a plurality of votes, 24%, there is still that 76% of people that they still need to somewhat convince or not feel so hostile towards them in order to secure a majority. And with this current projection, and with the surge in Labour, driven by the new Prime Minister Andy Burnham, Nigel Farage and Reform UK's domination has seemed to have all but faded. Now looking at which areas are the best for which party, Reform UK does well with Humberside, Shropshire, Staffordshire, Norfolk and Cumbria. Labour does well with Merseyside, London, Greater Manchester, West Yorkshire and South Yorkshire. The Conservatives do well in Berkshire, Buckinghamshire, Sussex, Hampshire and Wiltshire. The Greens do well in Avon, East Sussex, Herefordshire, Bedfordshire and Scotland. And Lib Dems do well in Oxfordshire, Surrey, Somerset, East Sussex as well, and Gloucestershire. Now looking at how this all looks on a map, no change from the general election for Northern Ireland, as there has not been a single poll since the general election in 2024. Not a single one for Northern Ireland. So I'm just going to have to assume that they hold their seats until I get any further information. Meanwhile, looking at Scotland, you can see that Reform UK does not pick up a single seat in Scotland, with mostly Labour, the Tories and Lib Dems picking up seats, with a number of seats going to the Scottish National Party. Now moving over to Wales, you can see that Plaid Cymru is doing quite well, picking up a number of seats, as well as Labour holding on to a few seats. And interestingly, while Reform only pick up 2 seats, they are winning a plurality of the vote share in Wales. However, yet again, there is still a lot of tactical voting from Welsh voters who don't support Reform UK and would rather have anyone else but Reform UK in Parliament representing their constituency. Moving over to England in the city centres, with Greater London, Labour hold on to a lot of the seats that they have held, with the Tories and Lib Dems picking up a few. Looking at Liverpool, Manchester and Leeds, Labour also do well, and that is where Andy Burnham was previously the mayor of. However, you can see that Reform is picking up a number of those seats in the more rural areas. Moving over to West Midlands, you can see that Labour is also doing well, with Reform UK picking up a few, as well as the Tories. And in North East England, you can see that Labour and Reform are also doing well. Now looking at the full overall map, you can see that Labour is doing well in the city centres, while the Tories are doing largely well in the rural electorates. The Lib Dems are doing well in southern England, and Reform UK is largely doing well all over the country, but especially well in northern England. So what is my prediction for the Clacton by-election? Well, unfortunately for you Count Binface fans, I have him coming second with 32.21% of the vote, and Nigel Farage winning back his constituency of Clacton with 63.08% of the vote. Because if you do look at the most recent general election, Reform only got 14% of the vote, and Nigel Farage was able to get 47%, and since then Reform UK has gotten more popular, so I expect that Clacton will be more likely to vote him in with a stronger margin compared to Count Binface. So unfortunately, despite the Conservatives, the Lib Dems and Labour all seemingly backing Count Binface, unfortunately he's not going to be elected the member of Clacton, and Nigel Farage will be re-elected back into UK Parliament. Now that brings us to the end of another video. If you like the video, of course feel free to give a like down below and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another one of my videos. And there'll be plenty more videos on UK politics, as well as other videos on other world politics, such as Germany, the United States and Australia coming in the future. And of course feel free to leave your comments down below. I always make sure to read the comments. So until next time, I will see you with the next take.